This is a demo that will show you how you can deploy a Node.js application that is hosted on GitHub. The code is on GitHub. I'm going to show you how you can deploy it to an Azure app service, right? Using Azure DevOps. So let's go right into it. First of all, you need to make sure that you have a copy of this repo. You can import it from here, or you can clone it and then push it to your own repository. So having done that, head over to your Microsoft Azure account and go ahead to create a resource. So in this case, the resource we'll be creating will be an app service. So I will choose app service, and then I want to create a web app. So I will go ahead to specify the resource group, and then I'll give my Node.js app a name. You have to make sure you give it a unique name, but in my case, I will say Node.js app demo, and then it will end with azurewebsites.com.net. All right, the name is already chosen, so let me say demo1. Okay, I will be publishing using a code, right? And then the runtime will be Node.js. Let me choose that Node.js, Node 20 LTS. Okay, I'll leave it the region as East US, and the app service plan, I'll leave it that way. Click review and create. So that validates, and after the validation, we will then go ahead to create our pipeline. So let me see if that is completed. Almost completed. Yes. Now I can go ahead to create. Now, whilst that is being created, let's go ahead to deploy or create our pipeline. So make sure you create a project. In my case, I already have the Node.js demo 1 created. But in your case, if you don't have a project on Azure DevOps, you need to create the organization and create a project. But I will just go ahead to use my Node.js demo 1 project. So head over to, by the left, you will see the option Azure Boards, Azure Repo, Azure Pipeline, Test Plans, Artifacts. Then let's go on to create the pipelines. In creating the pipeline, you click Create Pipeline, and then it will ask you where your code is currently, where you currently store your code. In my case, it's on GitHub, right? It's on GitHub. So what this code does is simply, if you check the routes index.js, it simply shows you a page that says hello, welcome to Contoso, something like this, right? Something like this. It's a fully functional web application created with Node.js. All right, so this will change it later to see how the CI/CD works. But let's go on. On Azure DevOps, we'll say our code is on GitHub, and then it will give us the options to choose or select the particular repo. In my case, it's Node.js app, and then it has given us, it has gone through the code and given us options, right? You can choose any of these options, right? Since they are all Node.js, Node React, and Node.js with Vue. But in our case, since we are deploying a Node.js app, we're going to go with the second option, right? It's a Node.js app that we are deploying. And you will remember we specified that the operating system will be on Linux, right? So you have to make sure that you choose Linux, Node.js web app to Linux on Azure, right? If you check here, we mentioned here that when we're creating the app service, the operating system was Linux. So go ahead, choose this option. So I'll go ahead to configure. Okay, so go ahead to authenticate. Go ahead to authenticate to your account. So when you authenticate to your account, you'll be able to see the web app you created earlier on Azure DevOps, right? So in my case, I should be able to see it. Let me do that again. All right, so after authenticating to your account, when you click on this Node.js Express web app to Linux on Azure, and then you authenticate, you will see this interface. Then you can go ahead to click on the web app option. You will see the web app, the app service you created earlier, the one we created on our Azure App Service, right? You will see it here, and then you click validate and configure. And so Azure DevOps will then give you a ready-made template in YAML, which you can simply edit. You can simply edit it and then get it deployed. So we can see that the Azure DevOps has given us the template which we can simply edit, right? So this template, what it does is simply it will build the build stage. The first stage is the build stage, right? Builds the Node.js application, Node Express app, right? And then it will archive it using the artifacts, right? To archive it, and you have a .zip file, which it will then use the archived file to then upload to Azure to deploy the application on Azure, right? So what we'll just do here is to we'll just edit this. So here you place your subscription ID. In my case, I advise you just use service connection instead. So to create service connection, you can just come here on project settings, and then you see service connections, and then create new service connection. You choose the resource manager, right? Workload identity federation. Let's give it demo SC service connection okay, let me just authenticate. So after authenticating, you should be able to see the resource group you created. You want to deploy to, right? So you name it service connect. You name the service connection, give it a name, and then make sure you click this button, grant access permission to all pipelines, and then you click save, right? So that's how you set up the service connection. So let's go back to our pipeline. Here we'll change it to demo SC, right? The web app is Node Express app demo, this particular one. That is where we're deploying to. And then the environment name, you can leave it as this. It will be created, and then it will run on the Ubuntu latest. That is the agent on which it will run. So Microsoft gives you this agent to run the code, right, for free, as long as the code is a public repo, right? And it will then go through the steps to install npm run build, then run test, after which it will then archive the build, right, to create an archive for the build and then deploy, right? So that is all we will need to edit here. So let me also edit the you remember the version was 20 point something LTS. So here we also indicate that we want it to be 20.LTS. Okay, so that is all we're going to change here. So let's go ahead to save it. Okay, you can commit directly to the main branch, or you created a branch for it. In my case, which I'll just commit to the main branch since this is a demo, and then it will save. Okay, so now that the pipeline is saved, we can go ahead to run the pipeline. So let's click on run, and then our pipeline, kicks off to start running, right? So if you want to see the logs, can click on that. You see it begins to check out the repo, install Node.js, npm install, build and test, and then it archives the files, and then it publishes the builds to the artifact registry, right? And then when that is completed, it will then go to the next stage, which is to deploy, right? But we will need to give it the authorization for it to deploy to move to the deploy stage, right? So let's authorize that. Click permit. This will only happen for the first build. For subsequent build, it won't need to seek for the permission to deploy, except you set it. Okay, so then the the deploy stage kicks off, initialize job, and then the other stages follow on. Okay, so this will take a little bit of about 5 minutes or thereabouts. So let me go ahead to pause the video. All right, so now we can see that the job has completed, right? The deploy job has completed, right? So now the web app service is successfully updated, right? And then and it's now running, right? So our application, right, we have successfully deployed it via Azure DevOps to the Node Express to Azure App Service. So to view the application, you can pick the domain URL here and put it on your. So this is the old one I created. So let's check for the application now. Okay, now you can see our application is running. Okay, let me close this and open another tab for you to view it. You can see application is running. It's a fully functional, web app, right? You can click on it to see some of the things there, and home. So a fully functional web app deployed using Azure DevOps. Okay, so right now what we will do is to update. So let's say we want to update any part of this web app, right? By just changing anything on our GitHub, right? You will see that the Azure DevOps will automatically pick up that change, right? And then redeploy our application, and then we'll see the update. So let's see that in action. So let me go to the routes directory, and then I will go and change the index.js, okay, which is showing the home page, right, where you have the hello, welcome to Contoso. So I'll go ahead to change that to hello techie. Sorry. Let me edit that. Let me edit that. So hello techie. Welcome to Contoso. Okay, so immediately I click commit changes and I commit it directly to that particular branch. You see that it will automatically kick off the CI/CD job on GitHub. So you can see the job has started already on Azure DevOps. So if you go back to the pipeline, you will see that the job has already, Azure DevOps has picked up that change, the one we made just now, and now it is, rebuilding and redeploying the application. So the build stage is complete already, and then it moves to the deploy stage. Now it doesn't ask us to authorize because we've done that the first time, right? So then the deploy stage, and that will take a little bit of 2-3 minutes. So I'll just pause the video so to save time. So now it's running the deploy stage. Okay, so now you can see our deploy job is completed, right? It has successfully deployed the web app to the app service, right? And this is the URL, the one we had before. So when you go back to, so this is the page we had earlier. So now that we made the change, if you refresh this, you should see our change reflected. Now you can see it. Hello Techie, welcome to Contoso, right? So any change you made on this site, on the repo, on GitHub, Azure DevOps will automatically pick that and then rebuild and then redeploy, and then the change will be reflected. So that is the end of the demo. I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you.